views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, this is Brother Mike. I'm back on the radio, HardcoreChristianity.com. Welcome to Filthy Fridays on Hardcore. Today's Bible study is Killer Exorcisms. Man, did you know you can die during this process if you get a hold of somebody who's incompetent? You sure can. I'll show you today. Hey, would you please not call anybody today and tell them the radio program's on? If anybody asks you if the radio program's on, just tell them no, it isn't. This is our family day on Filthy Fridays. It's just between us. This is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the House of Arizona Deliverance Center, formerly the House of Healing. We are on 15th Avenue. We are just south of Osborne Road in the heart of Maricopa County, Arizona. The House of Healing, as you know, is closed. You sent us the money and we purchased the Deliverance Center, and it is working out fantastic. We've seen an acceleration in the numbers of people getting healed and delivered. It has really been something special, and thank you so much for it. On the website, HardcoreChristianity.com, all of our ministry services are there. The PayPal button's there. You can send us another donation. Thanks for all the money you've sent us over the years. I don't take a salary. All the money's put in the ministry. May God richly bless you. If you want to hear the old radio programs or the current ones, even up to 3 years ago, they're all on soundcloud.com/hardcore-Christianity. West USA is our sponsor. Please go to the front page of the website if you need to sell your home, and a Christian will work with you and sell your property and give you a reduced commission at my request. May God bless you. Thursday nights and Friday nights are our services at the Deliverance Center, preaching and teaching and healing and deliverance at every service. I teach on Friday nights for my radio listeners. Thank you for all you've done for us. Killer exorcisms. Did you happen to see this recent article that came out, I think a week ago, thereabouts? I have been doing exorcisms since 2004, and before I got into the ministry, this type of a ministry, I obviously sought the Lord to understand how this thing is done, and I used principally the New Testament as my guide. Principally, I used the ministry of Christ as my guide. And as a result of that, at the House of Healing and now at the Arizona Deliverance Center, literally we have seen thousands of people delivered from demons and hundreds of people physically healed in our services. It's been incredible. Emotionally ill, mentally ill, physically ill, the demon infected. You wouldn't believe all the things that have happened. By the way, on Facebook, if you go to the group Blessings, the Facebook group Blessings, I shared dozens and dozens of these supernatural healings that we've had at the Arizona Deliverance Center and the old House of Healing. They're all right on that page, Blessings. Check this article out. It's a ministry in Texas. They got into deliverance, but they didn't know what they were doing. Quote, a female pastor is being held on a $100,000 bond at a Texas jail after being arrested on Monday, charged with injury to a child for allegedly performing a, quote, resurrection ceremony on a dead 2-year-old boy she claimed was possessed by demons. Pastor Alice Mesa, age 49, reportedly held the bizarre ritual last month at her home in Block Springs, Texas, 50 miles east of Dallas. Investigators claim the child was starved for nearly a month in a bid to rid him of demonic forces because his parents believed that he was possessed, but he ultimately died. The parents, by the way, were illegal immigrants from Mexico, and that's where they had come from. They had heard about Sister Mesa's ministry, and they brought their child there because he was demon-possessed. Quote, she's being charged with an injury to a child, Blanc Springs Police Lieutenant Mark Murray told the Christian Post on Wednesday. She's still in our jails, but she's not talking about the allegations at all right now. He added that it was unclear whether Mesa had yet retained an attorney. Video footage of the resurrection ceremony show Mesa, who is a second-ranking officer at the home church, holding a dead boy and reciting prayers to him in Spanish while also speaking in tongues. She refers to him as Benjamin, but his identity has not yet been made public. She said on the video, by the way, you can watch this video on YouTube. Okay, just put in some of this information I've given you. The video is on there. Quote, "In the name of Jesus, I'm utilizing this oil to try to get him back to life." Unquote. Mesa can be heard yelling into a microphone on the YouTube video. Witnesses told police that the boy was starved for 25 days before his death. On March 21, because his parents believed fasting would help cleanse him of evil. Quote, "They didn't give the child any food for about 25 days, says Mare. They just gave him some water, which ultimately caused the child to die." One congregant, Nazareth Zorita, told police that she saw the child, quote, "looking frail and weak" a day before the resurrection ceremony, and that he fell and hit his head several times, but she did not help him, quote, "due to his demon possession," unquote. The resurrection ceremony was reportedly held by Mesa and her church leader husband, Daniel Mesa, the day after the child's death on March 22nd. But attempts for a miracle failed to revive him. His parents are believed to have returned with his body to their native of Mexico for burial and did not report the death. Quote, "Apparently they had a ceremony called the Rising, trying to resurrect the child back to life," Mare said. Delia Herrera, another congregant at the church, told investigators that she made attempts to feed the toddler during the fast, quote, "but was scolded by the pastors of the church," unquote. Upon asking the boy's mother why she condoned his suffering, she was advised that it was God's will, quote unquote. Witnesses say Mesa, who acted as vice president of the church, was considered a prophet who could communicate directly with God and share spiritual messages. She reportedly lives at the home church, at the residence with her husband Daniel and several others. Julia Contreras, a neighbor of the Mesas, said cars would fill the street every Sunday to attend attend services at their home church. Folks, I don't want to overstate the obvious here, but as they say in Bangkok, something wrong. Something is wrong. Yeah, there's something wrong here. And my guess is, I don't know this for sure, my guess is that some of the deception that they were under came by misreading the story of the boy being delivered by Jesus in Mark chapter 9. Here it is. When Jesus came to his disciples after his transfiguration, he saw a great multitude hanging on it, and scribes were questioning them. And straightway all the people, when they beheld Jesus, were greatly amazed and ran and saluted him. He asked the scribes, "What are you questioning for?" One of the multitude said, "Master, I have brought to you my son. He has a dumb spirit. And wherever he takes him, he tears him." That's the Greek word tarasso. It means he has a seizure. Wherever he takes him, he has seizures. He foams at the mouth. He grinds his teeth. He pines away. Now that's the Greek word exoriano, which means to waste away through malnutrition, which is exactly what happened to this 2-year-old boy at the Texas church. This poor kid in Mark chapter 9 was doing the same thing. He was wasting away. And the father of the child says, quote, "I spoke to your disciples to cast it out, and they couldn't do it." Jesus then said, quote, "O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring the boy to me." They brought the child to Jesus, and when the demon in the child saw him, straightway the spirit tore him. That's, again, the Greek word is tarasso there. It means he had an epileptic seizure of some kind, probably grand mal. He falls on the ground, and he wallows around, foaming. The Greek word there means to spin in a circle. He hit the ground with an epileptic seizure and was spinning around. And I literally have seen that myself with patients that have epilepsy. I've seen the seizures, grand mal seizures. They're not a pretty sight. And I actually had a client of mine many years ago, years and years ago, probably 30, who actually had a seizure right in front of me. And he was also spinning around, just exactly like this boy in Mark chapter 9. It was amazing how similar the situation was. Jesus asked the father, "How long ago has this been happening?" And he said, "Since he was a child." Now the Greek word for child there means an infant, like a toddler, like a kid. Very, very young child, like a 2-year-old. It says, oftentimes it casts him into the fire and into the water, trying to destroy him. He said, "If you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." You can see, obviously, the poor father didn't have any faith anymore. He'd taken that child to everybody, every doctor, every exorcist, every minister, every rabbi, everything, and nothing helped. And so he's doubting. He has unbelief in his heart. Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him that believes." Here you see Jesus, before the deliverance of the child, ministering to the father, which is a very smart move, and we do that at the Arizona Deliverance Center. We have monthly healing services and deliverance services for children. But before we go to the children, we focus on the parents, because children pick up demons, usually from their parents, usually from their family tree, usually from sin in their home. And then it says, the disciples came to him later and said to Jesus after he cast it out, "Why couldn't we cast it out?" And Jesus said, "It was because of your unbelief." And then he says to the disciples, "This kind of spirit can come forth by nothing except prayer and fasting." So the poor people in Texas had the child fasting, when actually it's the minister that's supposed to have been fasting. The Greek word for kind there is genos. It means generational. This spirit that took the boy when he was just a little tyke was a powerful generational spirit from the family tree. And it required prayer and fasting to remove all unbelief so they could cast the spirit out.
The views expressed on the preceding program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program has been sponsored by Michael W. Smith.